So tonight I am at the beautiful Manhattan restaurant. This is one of my favourite restaurants in Disneyland Paris. It's a really, really beautiful setting. The food is fantastic. And here you can get a 3-course meal for €55. There's a vegan course option in every course, which is fantastic. So I have a minestrone soup to start, I have a mushroom pasta dish as my main, and then I have a nut cake for dessert, which sounds amazing. This has changed ever so slightly since I was here last time, so the dessert is new to me, and it sounds like the main might have changed a little bit as well. If you are looking for a really, really beautiful meal, maybe you're celebrating something, this is definitely a place to come to, so I cannot wait to try the food here again because it is always excellent. So for the starter, we have the minestrone soup, which is always packed full of chunky vegetables, which is really, really nice, so let's dig in. Yeah, it's really nice. If you're looking for like hearty vegetable flavour, you definitely get this here. It tastes like very, very fresh. You've got that subtle kind of tomato underbase, but it's very, very nice soup. So in the soup you get carrots, you get cauliflower, you get peas. You also look like you get little bits of celery, so kind of that traditional mix, but it's really nice to have like big bits of vegetables rather than like tiny, tiny little bits. It feels more hearty and wholesome. So the main course has now arrived, and it's very different to when I was here before. Before it was more like a creamy pasta dish, whereas this is called a lasagnette, which is very interesting. It looks beautiful presentation, and I'm very interested to try this. I've never had anything like this before, so let's tuck in and see what it's like. Oh wow. Wow, that's amazing. Because it's got a lot of tomato sauce, I was expecting it to be very tomatoey, but the inside is very, very kind of creamy. It's a very, very tasty dish. You also get some of the kind of like basil coming through, and it very much is like a lasagna without the bechamel sauce, which is very interesting, but really, really tasty. It almost has a meaty texture, even though there isn't meat in it, and there's not even faux meat in it. So it's very, very interesting. Oh, good. So that was a really, really good main. It was a really nice portion size, actually. What I like about coming here is, even though it's 3 courses, you don't walk away being like groaning, you're too full. Super, super fresh. Like I say, you have that really nice mixture of like the tomato base, but there was a kind of creaminess to it as well. You've got the mushrooms that are kind of like almost like a meaty texture, so it really is like having a lasagna just without the bechamel sauce. This is a really, really good main. It's actually kind of nice to see an update to a menu, because a lot of the vegan options that you've got in Disneyland Paris were put on the menu a couple of years ago, and they've stayed the same ever since. So to have an update, and a good update as well, is really, really nice. So yeah, Manhattan never disappoints. So even though the delicious creamy pasta has gone, this is a very good alternative. So my dessert has now turned up, and it is stunning. The presentation is beautiful. So it is a cake made with nuts. Now I can't pronounce the actual name, but you also have kind of like a whip on top, and you also have some fruit. You have a little flour. It's very, very beautiful. So let's dive in and see what the taste is like. Oh wow. That's a much different texture than I was expecting. I was expecting this to be more like a cake, but it's firm. It feels like nuts that have been compressed. So let's taste it. It's not my favourite thing I've ever tasted. It's kind of similar to, if you've ever had like vegan protein bars that are kind of made with dates. It's very, very similar to that. Now, admittedly, there are no dates in this. It's kind of the same texture. It's basically all made of different types of nuts. So because of that, there's not really a sweetness. It doesn't feel like a dessert. It's more savoury. But maybe I will try it with some of the fruit and see what that's like. The cream that has the fruit in is really, really delicious. And if you have it with the nut cake, it definitely adds the sweetness. However, I would say this is a downgrade in a dessert. Before, there was a chocolate and pear dessert, then it became a chocolate and pineapple dessert, which I think were both kind of more like you would expect a dessert to be. This was a little bit savoury, and also it's one of those things, if people don't like nuts or they're allergic to nuts, this is the only vegan option. So it's swings and roundabouts. So the main was a nice alternative. I would say I preferred the other dessert over this. So this again was a really nice meal at Manhattan. The first two courses, lovely. The dessert wasn't my favourite, but that's probably just a personal preference. I would like it to be a little bit sweeter, but the berries were really, really delicious, and there was like a cream that had berries in them. And if you added that with the nut cake, it was really good. But the main was super, super delicious, a really good option. And like I say, it's a really stunning setting. So if you were looking for a nice 3-course vegan meal, Manhattan is definitely somewhere you should pick.